बंद करनी पड़ेगी. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now, today the topic is Riba, interest and profit. Before we go into a detailed lecture and to explain you what is Riba, what is interest and what is the profit, we have a small documentary to show you. Now, the documentary has explained you a detail of riba, a detail of interest, how it affects on the human life, how negatively it impact on the community, regions, and on the universe. The film commentary is simple, slow, and understandable, provided you watch and listen carefully. If you have any question in that, we will be discussing that question while we are discussing the introduction and application of interest and riba. Window media play? Window media play or VLC? बिजली बंद कर दो.
Truly those who believe and do deeds of righteousness and perform prayer and give charity, they will have their reward with them. For them shall be no fear, nor shall they be. O you who believe, be afraid of Allah, and give up what remains from usury due to
बिजली बंद करो.
if you are ready. As babies starved to death in the Ethiopian famine, the World Bank demanded that all interest on its loans be paid. For while Ethiopians were dying of hunger, repayments to the IMF by coffee cash crop exports carried on unwaived. Correlation links higher interest rates to third world countries and increased crime, overfishing, and deforestation. Even though the initial International Monetary Fund loan is repaid, accumulated interest cripples developing nations. The effects of interest and usury are devastating. Western governments no longer tolerate that greed is good. But the entire world is at the mercy of these greedy bankers, and their evil exploitation needs to be understood. Usury has always been seen as the domain of parasites, reaping the benefits unjustly of what others have planted. Jesus, peace be upon him, smashed the moneylender's stalls, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, forbade all usury, but genuine business was granted. The Prophet, peace be upon him, revealed that in the end of days, interest would be so widespread that nobody would avoid its dust. Just as nowadays, when Muslims try to keep ethical zero interest accounts in mega banks that go boom and bust. But the dust of riba is choking, and while many try to stay out of its way, it drags them down with sly interactions. Yet the Prophet, peace be upon him, predicted that even Muslims would become contented with Ina or deferred pay transactions. The Prophet, peace be upon him, warned that Allah's punishment becomes legitimized on societies who spread usury and fornication. Redundantly, the dollar says, "In God we trust," but in denial relies on Wall Street and bankers to rescue the nation. The recent subprime mortgage scam and resulting credit crunch revealed the evil underbelly of the banking elite. Like leaving a fox to guard the chickens, impotent governments bailed out banks who swallowed it like a bonus treat. And as the tempestuous writhing stock market demanded, the banks came to the rescue by printing paper money. For the bearer of the note had the right to demand its value in gold, but knowing money is worthless, cash for gold shops, exchange gold for a pittance, ready for the third temple, and the collapse of money later. For real money has degraded since King Henry's 1540s from gold, mixed metals, paper, plastic, and now digital data. Jews and Christians once religiously opposed interest, but usury was repackaged as business instead due to greed. Three innocent aspects of investment, insurance liability, and sale of profit were combined to form one haram deed. The triple contract sanctioned by King Henry said beyond 10% interest was usury, to which the church consented. 240 pennies contained a pound of silver before he diluted it as mixed metal coins and paper money was invented. Soon, the lender started charging for the inter-esse, or intervening time between the loan and when payment was due. This became interest, time became money, taxation became vicious, people grew miserly, drying up alms or poor due. This mutated the way lawful business was done. Soon, ruthless moneylenders were extracting their pound of flesh. For decent ethics protecting the vulnerable were removed. Once proud borrowers were trapped like lions in a mesh. Allah said, one who deliberately takes interest will be raised on the last day like one touched with Satan's insanity. And consuming usury is one of the 7 big sins that leads to hell, yet greedy materialists still accumulate it in vanity. Allah has allowed capital gains and trade, but forbidden making money out of nothing and exploitation of the poor. He has likened the least branch of Riba to a man having sex with his mother, so interest is detested and abhorred. Even if a person accepts 1 dirham or penny via interest, it's equivalent to committing 36 acts of vile fornication. Islam exchanges like for like, be it gold, wheat, dates, or salt. Whoever gives or takes more has sinned in violation. Allah has not only cursed the one knowingly taking interest, but the loaner, witnesses, and writer of the contract. So it's just not good enough to say you don't take interest and yet work for usurious banks and insurers as a fact. Of course, if the law of the land requires that you need insurance, say, for a car, then do so, but within bounds stay. So if you make a claim, only take what you gave, and if not, then claim your money from the insurers on the last day. Satan inspires fear by saying, what if? Upon which insurers draw up unlawful policies and lay their greedy stake. Relying upon uncertainty and gambling, denial of Allah's decree, consuming another's wealth while profits they break. Likewise, it's better to rent than to take out a mortgage for property you will never own, whose interest will never cease. But if you don't keep up payments, banks will repossess their commodity and sign up the next joker onto their lease. Bloated bankers say low interest rates lead to a healthy economy, and when they lower it, they are seen as heroes. Yet they make money from people in debt, and hypocritically will never accept Islam's challenge to make rates zero. People only take notice when stung and are demanding an ethical and beneficial type of banking as offered by Islam. Unlike heartless capitalism, it helps the poor to profit share, writes off debts, and refuses dealing in things haram. Muslims aren't even allowed to perform Hajj to Mecca if they have an outstanding debt until settlement is arrived. Unlike degenerate gamblers who dream of winning the lottery and living off its interest for the rest of their lives. Islam urges payment of workers before their sweat dries, yet big conglomerate sweatshops are pillaging the poor. Most of the world's resources are exploited to pamper the rich, but many of them will sales, like paying for unspecified, unharvested crops in case of loss or burden unforeseen. Yet the future derivatives stock market exploits this, recouping losses by debt with interest heartlessly and mean. The son of Adam is never satisfied with what he has. Given a mountain of gold, he'd wish he had two and keep going. Materialism has led to consumer debt culture, and keeping people blind to this disease has kept bank cash flowing. And sadly, the consumer society infects even the hardiest eventually with must-have gadgets on everybody's list. The thrill of the chase is deflated once obtained, then you move on to something new in your sight, not to be missed. But just as the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that Muslims will copy those who came before them, Islamic banks do just that. But they function in a usurious system with comparable services like index-linked mortgages and credit overdraft. Regardless of how they're lauded by capitalists or backed by dubious sheikhs who pass fatwas allowing Riba's harm, the day will come when injustices like usury are removed by Imam Mahdi and the world flourishes under Islam. When Islam's justice prevails, so much wealth will be spread by the Mahdi that people will never need charity again. Capitalists realize that with Islam's dominance, their days are numbered, abolished like jizya in Jesus' future reign. In his last sermon, the Prophet, peace be upon him, abolished all interest or riba and freed many more people from crippling debt. And the Qur'an's final verses declare, with a war by Allah and his Messenger, will consumers of interest be met. So, fierce opposition is met by blood-sucking capitalists who dismiss zero-interest Muslim alternatives as oddities, for an Islamic monetary system will implement gold and silver coins, shall be dinars, and return to real commodities. A gold dinar weighing 4.25 grams could buy a sheep during the Prophet's era as it can today. Its value is still the same. Gold is a valued commodity, so much so that disbelievers will try to bribe Allah with it to save them from hell in vain. But we should be careful how we spend our wealth, for every penny will have to be accounted for on the last day. As for those who say business is just like riba, they are materialistically deluded and will pay for what they say. The Prophet, peace be upon him, envisioned a man drowning in a river of blood by rocks thrown into his mouth from the river bank. The man was being punished for consuming usury, unable to escape, just like those he imprisoned by debt he sank. Many Muslims don't know that interest is forbidden. Allah reminds us that when we become aware, we must refrain. Cancel all riba saving accounts. Repent and give the accrued interest to charity, for which there is no reward or gain. Give up haram investments like stocks and alcohol. Live within your means and be patient to avoid real loss and distress. For whoever fears Allah and remains dutiful to him, Allah will make a way to get him out of difficulties he may face.
This was the film that we bought it for you. Now, topic is riba, interest, and profit. What do you want? Now, how many of you have heard about riba? Now, what is riba? Huh? Bad earning. And interest or illegal. And what do you know about interest? So if you make a trade, you get about amount over to your principal amount. So it's illegal. It's illegal. What do you know about profit? Let's speak about profit. How you make a profit. When you use a money as a commodity. Excuse me, yes. Yes, exactly. Yes, you don't have the right to own it, but you take it. Now, let me explain you very simply, then we go into that. Riba is basically any act of human being to gain something for himself by wrong intentions. By wrong intentions. Innama amalu binniyat. Actions are judged by the intentions. So any action that has been performed by wrong intentions, and you get the benefit and you get the profit and you get the income and you make the expenditure also, that fall into the act of riba. And what is interest? Very simple thing. Any amount on the principal amount which you confirm and guarantee in the present stage to be paid in the future. That means today I promise and I'll pay you into future. How can I guarantee? I don't have a power to guarantee because I don't know when I'm going to be, how long I'm going to be alive. Maybe 1 second, maybe 1 minute, maybe 1 hour, maybe 1 day, maybe 1 week, maybe 1 month, or maybe 1 decade. But I don't know what happened to me after 1 minute or 1 second. So how can I make a promise? Let's look into the details of that topic. And the very first topic that we're going to take it is riba. But before we go into the explanation of the riba, we should understand one thing, that Allah Tabarak Ta'ala has created a pairs of everything. That means everything has a pair. With the water, you have a thirst. With the food, you have a hunger. Am I right? So if you look into it, there are certain acts of a human being that has been performed by a human being into different directions, right way or wrong way. As I told you into the economics also, that when you go into the wrong way, you lead towards the Iblis, which is devil. And when you go into the right way, you lead towards the reward, which is basically being given to the Creator, who is none other than Almighty Allah. You will get the reward here, or you will get the reward of the day of the judgment. That you believe that there is a day of judgment. You believe that one day you have to go. This is a transitory period of yours in this world. And you have to go. And there's a new life that is going to be started. That is going to be the day of judgment. So if you look into it, there are certain human acts. If you look into it, Almighty Allah clearly defined principle and means for goods and services, weight and measurement, during time and period, increase and decrease, profit and loss, buying and selling, giving and taking, efforts and lethargy, success and failure, defeat and winner, richness and poverty, knowledge and ignorant, civilized or orthodox, tradition and customs, morals and ethics, transparencies and malice, honesty and fraud, crime and punishment. Ultimately, it's going to be a reward or the penalty. Now, all these things that you perform in your daily life, it's in the will of Allah. A man is basically being created to perform in the will of Allah. Allah Ta'ala has given you a very, very powerful human mind that guide you, that warn you, and that explain it to you what is evil and what is sin, what is loss and what is destruction, how you can maintain your health, how you can earn, make and distribute your wealth, what is your happiness for yourself and for your community and for your humanity also. Everything in the will of Allah. For the betterment of humanity, Allah defined limits of everything, which we have already explained it to you while we were giving you the information on the Islamic economics, that everything has a limit. Your eating has a limit. You cannot sleep more than 12 hours. Am I right? Myself, I cannot sleep more than 6 to 7 hours. I get upset on the bed. You cannot walk more than 2 or 3 kilometers at one time. Because there's a limit of it. And you cannot laugh for a whole day. The more you laugh, the more tears start coming up. And the misery is not for the whole life for you. There is a blessing of Allah which awaits for you. It says very clearly, the justice of Allah could be delayed, but could not be denied. And so it says it very clearly that Allah Ta'ala has given you the books, Allah Ta'ala has sent you the prophets, and Allah Ta'ala has guided you through the prophet how you have to live in this world. For understanding of your living into this world, it is very clearly described that everything is being prohibited. Almighty Allah prohibited any purpose or any act that is harmful to a humanity. It's harmful to the humanity. Now, let's see. If Anas is my student, I'll give you the example of yours, not anybody else. Very small example. If Anas is a student of this class, and he is a student of this class, and we start the class and he comes late, he disturbs the whole class. Is it justified? Who says yes? He says yes, because he came late. He didn't come late. You never came late. You came late. So you disturbed the class. Am I right? Is it justified? No. Because every second makes your personality. And every second have a reward. And every second has a value. That's what Allah Tabarak Ta'ala has said very clearly, that anything that harmful to a mankind, even wasting your time is a harmful. Wasting your time because you are a productive creation. You are a productive part of the community. When you waste your time, you decrease the production. And when you decrease the production, you are going to avail the resources which are not your resources, which are resources belong to her. And you are becoming a burden on her. So it says very clearly, create instability, bring injustice, and became injurious to your human life. How injurious to your human life? Suppose if I start smoking in this class, it is a justified act. Why? I have a habit of smoking, so let me smoke. No, but the smoke that is coming up, it is not only damaging my health, but it's also damaging your health also. Let's suppose I take alcohol and I come in a class. It won't affect anybody. No, it will affect anybody because it have put my mind into a certain direction when I cannot recognize who is a student and who is a lover. I became an animal. I see with a different eyes. All those respect that I am supposed to give to the humanity, I became a cruel opportunist. Why? Because my mind has been controlled by an artificial power of alcohol. So it is injurious. Then we say, develop discrimination, distrust, cruelty, humiliation, and proudness. I am a teacher. I say, whatever I want to do in this class, I will do it. Nobody can dare to go against me. I am a proud. Then I say, she is a daughter of my friend. He is my relative. And I know her very well. So I start giving them favors. So what happened to all the class? Discrimination, cruelty, and of course, I am humiliating you. Just at the benefit of these three students. Is it right? Very common question. Is it right? No, it's not right. So it says further, these acts and purpose are considered as unconstructive to socio-economic system. That means everything that I have explained to you, cruelty, discrimination, humiliation, proudness, injustice, everything that has been act by a human being against the act of a humanity, Allah Ta'ala has prohibited it. He said, no, it is not allowed. Then we have to look into the concept of riba. You must be thinking that Sir Yousuf is explaining us everything, but he is not coming onto the direct topic of riba. Now, riba is basically derived from the word rib, which means profit. Let me tell you, when you go for a employment and you work somewhere, at the end of your working, what you get? Salary. When you provide these services, what you get? Fee. When you do a brokerage, what you get? Commission. And when you trade, profit. Basically, riba is a bad profit in trading, servicing, brokerage, or employment. When you, let's suppose, you are employed in a company. I'll give you a very touchy picture of that. If you are let's suppose you are an employee in a company, early morning when you come at 9 o'clock, first time you don't come at 9 o'clock, you come at 9:30. 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes late. And then to impress your boss, you just come and open the Qur'an Majid and start reciting Qur'an Majid. Is it justified? Your recitation of Quran Majid is not justified. Though the Quran Majid is a holy book, but it is not justified because you are not being paid for it and you are not being deputed for it. And then, like 1 o'clock is a break time. You start preparing your break time at 1:45. And then you go for a namaz. I'm going for a namaz, and then you come back at 2:30. And then they will ask, the employer asks you, where were you? Sir, I went for namaz. Are you justifying your job? No. Now let's come to the brokerage. I've shown you this car. I said, look, I will take Anas in the night. So that I'll take him into the night so that he won't be able to see some of the weaknesses of that car. Is it justified? No, it is not justified. All these acts that has been performed by you, you go for your benefit by exploiting the other, taking the advantage of your position, which is not justified. And it says it, Riba is an Arabic word derived from the word rib, which means profit. It means access, increase or addition in accordance to the Islamic guidance for a commercial and business practices, and correctly interpreted according to the Sharia terminology as double profit. Now, what is double profit? Let me explain you. This bottle is 100 rupees. I took it from the company. It cost me 50 rupees more. So what is the cost price? 150. And I am putting my profit as a 300. So how much I'm selling it? 450. Is it justified? Now, why it is not justified? It is not justified because it is out of your affordability level. The consumer cannot buy it. If the consumer cannot buy it, so this bottle is not going to have a better turnover. And if it does not better turnover, that increase the financial cost. When it increased the financial cost, the production stopped. Am I right? Same, I told you, lower the profit, higher the turnover. There's a technical reason for not taking the higher profit. And if that is a double profit that you take it. Another double profit is that once I took 100 rupees, 1000 rupees, I'm going to give you every month 100 rupees, 10%. She said, okay. Now, next month I came, I did not give her the money. Then she said, okay, now the next month you're going to give me on 110. I did not give it. Then 130. Then 160. Then 200. And then 220. Then 300. And then 100 rupees reached to a level of 600 rupees. Is it a right way? Because nothing is going on. There's no economic activity going on. There's no buying, no selling. And the volume of the money is going up and up and up and up. I have a film in my library which is called Last Days of Lehman Brothers. Over $900 billion loss to one of the largest investment company just because of the compound interest that has been charged. That is called the double profit. And if you want to see that drama of the Lehman Brothers, then only you can understand what the misery behind the compound interest. Let's suppose you have 200 million rupees, which you don't have it. But let's assume it you have it. For a 5 minute, be happy that you have a 200 million rupees. So you go to a bank, and with the 200 million rupees in a bag, and you go to a bank, you go in a bank and you give it to the manager, deposit this money into my account, invest it for the 20 years. What will be the rate? He said 10%. Okay. Every maturity, make a rollover, principal plus profit. I will come after 20 years. After 20 years, you come to the bank, the 200 million rupees that you have deposited will reach to around 1.8 billion rupees. 1.8 billion rupees. Does your 200 million have served in any of the economic activity? No. It is just like that you have put certain chicks on the eggs, and at the maturity, the eggs broke down and small chicks came up. It is just like that, it is called riba. When you don't have anything purpose for use of money and you make a double money increasing just because the system increase it without any economic activity. Now, when you have a double profit, what it do? Why double? Yes. No, it's not allowed, bitcoins. Because I have given you the currency definition. Currency is issued by authority and backed by the sellable material. Now, let me tell you. Let's suppose somebody has issued bitcoins. Today, I will issue dinars, Hassan dinar, Yousuf Hassan dinar. Will you accept it? There will be uncertainty. Somebody is issuing a currency, exchange instrument, which does not have any kind of authority to do it. So can you be? No, it's not possible. So any earning, income, profit or benefit being earned, taken or received through wrong means, bad intentions, shady practices or wicked participation, such earning, income, profit or benefit are classified as riba. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tell you one thing. According to the Islamic financial system, profit and principal has to be disbursed upon the maturity. You cannot roll over. So when you get the profit, when you matured it, you get the profit, your profit should go into a suspense account. You have to break the contract, make another contract with a new amount. Either take that contract and do it. You cannot roll it over with the principal plus profit on that. Why? Because, let me tell you, let's suppose a man died. He left a wealth. His son and his daughters are the successors of his wealth. The son says it, give my portion of wealth to my sister. Is it not allowed? Is it not allowed? I'm asking you, is it allowed or not? Not. Why? Because the wealth belongs to the... And when the boy or a son takes that wealth in his house, he became the owner. And then he is willing, it is his discretion to he give it or he doesn't give it. So when you declared a profit, you have to receive the profit in your hand. And when you have the profit, till such time the profit is lying in your bank, it is a bank property. Bank has no decision, bank has no authority to roll over your property, your amount, unless you give into a writing. But first, bank has to credit your account with your profit, then he debit your account and reinvest it again. The new terms and condition. Clear? Any other question? Now, any earning, income, profit, benefit, even the benefit. I ask my student, where your father works? She said, my father works with Angro Food. Oh, Angro Food has a very, very good calendar, you know. It's a very good calendar. Oh, I want one calendar. Tell your father to and bring one calendar for me. Is it justified? Justified? No. Why should I? Because today she's going to bring a calendar for me. Tomorrow she expects that I'm going to some favor to her. Definitely she's going to. And I take my position as a teacher, taking a favor from my students. I am, by virtue of my profession, to give the favor to you. I am not supposed to take the favor from you. I can only take a favor from you, and which is a justified favor, is that I want you, everybody, to take A or B plus. That's the favor you're going to give me. Otherwise, you cannot give me any favor. The day I'm going to see my result sheet that there are 70 students, out of 70, there are 30 A and there are 40 B plus, I got the reward. Am I right? I got the reward. And when I am going to give you, honestly, the marks, the better marks, you will be given a reward for studying that. So that is basically, if I say no, I will give her A, I'll give him A, and her B plus, and I'm giving because I don't like him. I'm sorry. I'm just giving an example. I don't like him. So let him put into C. Is it right? No, that is a benefit that I'm taking it up. Now, when you have these bad intention, what are the result? Have you ever noticed what are the result? If you see a last column, earning income, profit or benefit through riba are not only treated as immoral, unjust and filthy, but furthermore threat to the socio-economic life of the society, as riba leads to crime of various nature, cruelty, exploitation and self-importance. Riba is basically anything which is basically being taken or earned or taken a benefit by wrong means. In a very, 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 very common meaning, if I explain it to you, riba is basically a social crime. Very easy. Riba is a social crime. And the common perception is that riba is interest. No. Riba canvas is so large canvas, and there are number of categories of riba, and there are 3 types of riba, which we are going to explain it to you, which are linked to the factor of production. Riba is basically an act to gain and to take the benefit by wrong means, which is interest is a part of riba. That means interest is a riba. It's a riba through money. That you use the money in a wrong way. Then it's called the riba, which is called riba al-nasiya. Don't write it, we'll talk at the later stage. Then when we move further, we see the riba in reality. If you read into it, riba is a combination of evil and sin. That means bad. Riba is a combination of evil and sin. You understand what is evil and sin? Definitely you understand it. This much of thing that you have to understand it. Riba is a bad practice to earn and gain. Bad practice to earn and gain. Riba bring instability in the community life. Many who wear the dresses bought from Dubai, France or Italy, and many who can't get even a shirt in the cold season because they don't have affordability to buy it. And they go to the wall, there's a wall where there's a cloth are hanging, Everybody who has a waist cloth, they just put it on that wall. They go on the wall and if they don't find a suitable shirt to wear it. So they live a below average of poverty level. So it's riba basically riba bad practice to earn and gain. Riba bring instability in the common life. Riba is the source of increase of inflation. One community part is very high, who can buy apple which are being imported from France. And one community cannot buy the apple brought from the Quetta. They cannot. And one person takes the mineral water imported from France. And one doesn't have a water on the taps also. So this is then create classes in the society. This is upper class, this is elite class, this is bad class, this is high class, this is low class, this is medium class. Then riba creates everyday lockup, everyday strike, everyday dharna, everyday whatever. Why is because the society is suffering from riba. Injustice, bad dealing. So riba is a non-transparent economic activity, hiding the things, black marketing, blackmailing, hoarding of wealth, hoarding of the needs, commodities, shortage, scarcity of the resources. Then riba is the most hated practices in Islam. Riba is a social crime. Riba is immoral, unethical, unjustified, commercial, economical, political, social, cultural, and traditional practices and activities to gain benefit at individual, collective, or institution level. That means, now, in the last class, one asked me, sir, what is a political riba? What is political riba? So, what is political riba? Huh? What is political riba? Ji? Huh? No? Exactly. When he takes the oath to perform his duty as a lawmaker and he doesn't do it. He takes the salary, benefit, everything, but he doesn't do anything. Now let me tell you one thing. Let's suppose you must have seen 4 governments. Today when you sit over there and you say political riba and you close your eyes and you think, what benefit I got it? And then you find it out, as the day passed, one by one, the inflation are coming up and up and up and up. People are being killed on the roads. Society is being developed. Discrimination is going on. Factories are getting closed. Jobs are scarce. Why it happens? It happens because lack of leadership. Am I right? Lack of the leadership. Do you have leadership short? No, you have unlimited leaders. The assemblies, the senates, the parliamentarians are abundant. But when they are not united on the one simple point, humanity and citizens have all the right to be given according to their efforts and contribution, they all fall into the category of riba. Every income that they are making, even they have this much of beard, this much of a sign of the namaz, but what they are performing it up, they are all into the earning of riba. If a man die on the road, who is responsible for that? No, the ruler is responsible for that, because under his rule, a man killed a man. Why a man killed a man? A man killed a man either due to the enemy or to the need of a food for his tummy. Then displaying the large size of the mobiles in the common public or eating in the common public, it all comes into a riba. Can you imagine it? Because when you display all the luxury goods, it creates a temptation to the people who doesn't have means to do it. When you start eating on the road, there's so many people who have a hunger. It's all been not allowed to eat on the roads. Even you are not allowed to eat on the road because your act is fall into the category of riba. So basically, the ethical life of a common man to live in this transitory period is a riba-free life. Ethical values. Who respect the ethical value, he respect to law means he is giving a justice to the humanity. Then we have now, this is not the part of your course reference that what the Quran says it. Now, I have the references of the other books also, but I have taken a very small so that for your understanding that a person who is dealing into a riba is just like as if he is being touched by the devil, shaitan. And if he realizes that he is doing wrong and he asks for the pardon, he will be forgiven by Allah. It has basically been Allah committed it to it. But since he knows it, now let's see. People say banking is haram. All of you comes to me and say, sir, can we do a job in a banking? Sir, is banking haram? No, banking is not haram. Banking is a system that is on the basis of amanat gah. And it's a trade house. And the banker is a wise who should be honest. Let's suppose if a banker is not an honest and not a wise, then banker is wrong. Banker is in a riba. Banking is not in a riba. Banks are not in a riba. But the banker is committing a riba. So banker has to be blamed, not the banking. So it says it, if he still knows it, that riba is prohibited in Islam and he still perform a riba, then Quran has very categorically, Bible has very clearly explained that such person's life is going to be put into hell. You believe it or not, basically, Christian society is the society that had fought against capitalist society for over 250 years, and they never allowed to implement riba transaction in their monetary affairs. Unfortunately, the greed of the man is a most forceful thing that put the church behind and interest and riba at front. So it says very clearly, then we have riba in the financial matters, very clearly, riba must be eliminated from the financial transactions. Riba, nothing is more horrific as compared to the riba that Islam has prohibited. Nothing is more dreadful than riba. It remains a widespread threatening in socio-economic activity in both theory and practice. This was, I have already explained it to you. Any question on that now, on the riba? Look, beta, when we're going to discuss on the interest, which is coming up now, then you can understand that what is interest. But if you don't have, if you have a money, so where you keep the money? Bank. What is the other source to keep the money? Definitely you put up private lockers. But one thing is that the putting your money into a private locker is a riba. It stop the circulation of wealth. It stopped the circulation of wealth. If everybody, like suppose, like it says, in Islamic financial system and Islamic economics, large denomination of notes are not allowed. Small denomination notes are being recommended. Why? Let's suppose I have a 5,000 rupees 3 packet. How much money I have got? 15 lakh. I'll just put into a packet and go outside the country, get it changed, convert it into the foreign currency, come back, put it in my bag. I have reduced the storage space. I've hold the 1.5 million rupees. Now this 1.5 million rupees will create a shortage in the liquidity market. When the liquidity market, which is a liquidity market, is called the money market. If there's a shortage in the money market, definitely it affects to the production. It increase the cost of the production because interest rate increase with the shortage. As a result, the prices of the goods are going to be increased. Affordability level decrease. Sales effect. Consumption effect. Ultimately, the growth effect. And the unemployment started. So, it is very clear that you have to put your money into the institutional saving, and that saving should be your input should be the output into a commercial activity. A commercial activity which is being permitted by Islam, and it has to be practiced in accordance when Sharia rules has been defined in the Holy Book very clearly. And Sharia rules are anything which is riba, not allowed. So there are, and let me tell you one thing. The honesty has more opportunities than the dishonesty. And dishonesty can be caught at any time. Honesty cannot be caught. Anything which we caught is a risk. And the moment you enter into a dishonesty, you enter into a risk. Allah Ta'ala has created your body risk-free. Why risk-free? Because Allah has given you a human mind. It has given you eyes. It has given you ears. It has given you a hand. It has given you the whole body. How are you going to have a risk? Either you have a wrong intention, you make loss. Either you are overconfident, then you have a loss. Either you have a lack of knowledge, you get loss. Either you have become a lethargic, you get loss. Or there's a natural calamity that makes you a loss. Otherwise, your human body is basically developed in a way that it has shocks to bear the losses. And the mind gives you the guidance how to protect yourself from the loss. Now, when you are a banker, you are a fund manager, you cannot see that where you have to invest your money and how the profit you're going to make it. Well, I have financed the gentleman's name. What's your name? Eh? I have financed Saad. Now I know Saad is a very honest man. And he is going to work the way he's explained it to me, a purpose and everything, and he's going to work on that. And I just sit in my office, drink a coffee. And Saad every 1 month comes to me, sir, this is stock report, this is this, sir. He takes on the worksheet, Excel sheet, and all that, he gives it to me. One fine morning, I found it out that nothing is there. All the reports that were coming to me were all bogus reports. Who is at fault? Saad at fault or I am at fault? I am at fault. Because I am at fault, I have the money of these people and I put the money and I have given the money to them. And I have not supervised the money, I have not paid my... This says very clearly, when the cat is away, the mouse play. And that is the game of the banking. That when you invest the money, you have your foot ready to reach within the shortest possible time to a place where you have invested the money and to find out the result. And you have to be very curious because you have a responsibility to answer. And you have to produce. And who's going to produce? You are going to produce Who is going to give you the money? I'm going to give you the money. Where the money come from? Here the money come from. So you know the channel, how you do it. Let's move further. Yes, yes. I'll explain you at the later. Money which is being placed in the stock market, if goes into the gambling, speculation, then it is wrong. But if it is a fixed income, fixed investment, that is, results are basic of the business, are the distribution of profitability according to the results is acceptable. But if it is on the selling and buying on the market assumption, it is not allowed. Yes. Huh? No, no. Insurance, general insurance. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Human insurance that guarantee your life is not allowed. Because how can you have a replacement of your father? How can you have a replacement of your brother? How can you have a replacement of your mother? How can you have a replacement of your nearest and dearest? Do you have a replacement? You don't have it. Then what's the point of insurance? The life is in the discretion of Allah Tabarak Ta'ala. And what is the benefit after your death? Do you have any benefit after your death? So when your family knows it, that you have been insured with 20 million rupees, they will pray, let the old man die, so we get the money. Let the old man die, we get the money. And you say, and the son says it, Mama, don't worry if father died it, we'll get you a new father. We'll get a new father, you get a new husband. Is it possible? No. So when you go into the speculation, high hopes, definitely it's a dishonesty on the part of the monetary transaction. Dishonesty is not allowed. So it fall into the category of a gambling. It's called qimr. Qimer. Qimr. If a person, please listen what she said. Again repeat it. Please don't talk, yaar.
If any person is doing praying and namaz and everything with full contribution, but he's performing riba, and he knows that it's not right because he's a scholar of the Holy Qur'an and everything, but still. So would his prayers be accepted?
In the beginning, I told you one thing. There are two rights that you have to perform. Right of Allah, right of humanity. He is performing right of Allah, but he is depriving from the rights to the humanity. So will his namaz be justified? I told you, when you are sitting in an office and you start reciting the Holy Qur'an, that Holy Qur'an is basically recitation of Holy Qur'an is illegal because you have been paid to work, not to recite the Holy Qur'an. At certain stages, your prayer is not being allowed. There are certain relaxation being given. It is not like that you have been forced to pray. No. It doesn't say you are forced to pray. Your prayer is to serve Allah. While serving the Allah, you are serving the humanity. Because if you serve the Allah, that means you are serving to the humanity. You are making a umrah, you are making a hajj, you are making a charity, food charity, and everything is that. And on the other side, you are making a wrong declaration. Under invoicing, over invoicing, mixing the things, purity into artificiality, selling the goods by saying this is pure, this is legal, and that is a replica. Is it justified? So, it fall into the category of fraud and forgery, which is not allowed into it. Yes? Yeah, there was a concept of amanatdari. Look, I give you a very simple example. There was a companion of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Az-Zubair al-Awam. He asked Prophet that I am the custodian of the wealth for many people. My problem is I forgot things. And it is also giving me a cost to keep that custodianship. So, is it justified that if I use that money in the business and then I keep the track record and at the time of they ask the money, I'll give it to them? The Prophet said that yes, you can do it. You can do it. You can use that money, but ask the person who has deposited the money with you. And whatever you make, share the income with that person. Don't keep the money loose. Put the money into a circulation. This is very important that Islam says it. Money cannot be hoarded. It cannot be stored. In the ancient days, people used to keep the money, then they use the money for the projects, and they have the surplus money. When if you need the money, they can pay it from themselves, and they adjusted it. There was a like it started way back in the Hinduism. It came to the Judaism, then the Christianism, then the Islam. Islam is one of the most modern system which comes after all the religion being implemented. Then Islam came. Why? Because Islam have given a complete economic system. And that economic system, they have given three factors of production: man, money, and commodity. So it's the full game of man, money, and commodity. Now, let's come to interest. Now, riba is clear to you. Do you have any problem with riba? Any problem? Riba? Any question on riba? Should I move to interest? Which is more important for you? Am I right? You want to know. Look, beta, my son and daughters, understand one thing. What is the meaning of interest, or what is the meaning of sood? Sood, S-O-O-D, common. Sood is a Sanskrit word, which means cruelty. If you take the sood in Persian, it means profit. If you take sood in French, it means noble person. If you take sood, it means lust. If you take sood in Arabic, it means black. If you take sood in Turkish, it means artificial. None of the meaning of sood is basically being prohibited, if you take the meaning. So, what is interest? Interest is basically, the meaning of interest is to like something, to like something, or to hobby. When you have a lust of a money, when you have a greed of a money, and in this lust and in greed, you enter into a practice of cruelty, humiliation, exploitation, and discrimination, you develop a kind of a liking in that practice, and anything that is being earned through this kind of practice fall into the category of interest. And the meaning of interest, and the correct word of interest, is riba al-nasiya, N-A-S-S-I-A-H, N-A-S-S-I-A-H, nasiya, riba al-nasiya. There are three types of riba. Don't write it, but I'll let you do. There are three factors of production, na? Man, money, and commodity. Riba al-nasiya is a money riba. Riba al-fadl, F-A-D-A-L, riba al-fadl. is commodity riba. And riba al-gharar, Gharrar, riba al-gharar is a human riba, fraud and forgery. Gharar, Gharrar, riba al-gharar is basically a fraud and forgery. So, money and commodity. Man is gharar, money is nasiya, and commodity is fadal. Allah Ta'ala has made such a marvelous system that this system is interlinked to each other. Any problem, Suresh? Do you have any problem? Any problem? Let's see what is interest. It's a interest is a price of a money. Why price of a money? Money is not a commodity. Okay? Money is not a commodity. In banking, you see, bank buys the money 5% and sell the money 10%. They take deposit at 5% and they sell loan at 10%. So what is money? What is money? No. When you buy the money and you sell the money, then what is the money? Money is a commodity. Money is a negotiable instrument. Money is an exchangeable instrument to satisfy your means of needs, services, and satisfaction. It satisfies your needs in terms of the services and in terms of your commodity. So it says very see, interest is a price or rent on the principal amount as an excess that is taken and given against the guarantee of return of principal along with excess prior to the execution of the transaction with by merging the categories of riba consist of. Look, I'll explain you. I go to Anas and I say, I want 1,000 rupees. These are the, please take care of these words. Watch very carefully. I go to Anas, I say, I want 1,000 rupees. Anas never asked me, said, why should I give you 1,000 rupees? I said, I will give you 100 rupees access to 1,000. Lust. I created a lust in the Anas mind. Clear? I created it. Now he just think. He is in an urgent need. Oh, why should I take 100? Why not I take 200? He need it. Let me take a benefit. I come into the exploitation of my need. I said, I will make 500 out of 1,000. So if he's asking 20, I'll give it. Non-transparency. He said, okay, I'll give you 20. He said, what's the guarantee? I said, take my house. Keep it as a rahan. What is rahan? Al-rahan. A-L-R-A-H-A-N. Al-rahan. Al-rahan is basically called collateral. Security against the lending. There are 4 types of rahan. If you want to put house, property, you have to mortgage. Mortgage is rahan. If you want to put your stock of goods, you pledge. P-L-E-D-G-E, pledge. On stocks, commodities. If you give a guarantee, or if you have a bonds or certificates or sukuk, you give it, I give it sukuk to him, he put his stamp on it, that means lien. L-I-E-N. On paper, it's lien. Let's suppose my net worth is 10 million and I take the loan of 1 million. My assets, current and fixed assets are 10 million and I take a loan of 1 million. So do I have to give a rehen of 10 million? No, I give a rehen of 1 million. It's called charge. C-H-A-R-G-E. Charge. Charge on net worth. And net worth, you know it. Assets minus liabilities is net worth. My assets, I put a charge on my asset. So I give rehen to him. By giving a rehen to him, I am guaranteeing the transaction to be success in future in the present time. Understand? Is it clear to you? Today is 15th. On 15th, I am promised and putting a guarantee of success that on 15th of March, I am going to give you 1,000 with 200 rupees. Is it possible? I have not performed any economic activity. I am uncertain of my life. How can I guarantee? I cannot guarantee. So, when I cannot guarantee, so I make a wrong. Because Allah Tabarak Ta'ala is the only power that guarantee of everything. Not the man is not given a power to the guarantee. So I enter into a shirk. There's a violation in the jurisdiction of Allah. Now, at the maturity, I go to Anas and I say, Allah, Anas Sahab, I'm sorry, I cannot give you 200 rupees. I can give you 100 rupees because I did not earn it. I did not made it. So what he's going to see? Immediately bust and he enter into a humiliation. Okay? Now, I start begging him, sir, look, Anas, next time I'll do it. He said, okay, come. He tied me and he take me and he put me on the rail track. He put me on the rail track. He said, now, either your family is going to come and pay me or the train is going to come and pay me. So what you want? You want train or your family? I look outside, the train is coming. On that side, nobody is there. Is it not a cruelty? Now, what is the philosophy in it? Money belongs to Allah because everything belongs to Allah. Money is given to him as a amanat. I am a human being. I have not declared a purpose. If I have declared a purpose, he would have come in a profit and loss with me. Am I right? So, interest is basically with the formula principal multiplied by rate multiplied by time upon 100. Anything that has basically been confirmed on the basis of this formula, principal multiplied by rate multiplied by time upon 100, confirmation to the future, guaranteed and promised, is fall into the category of interest. Now, interest is clear now? Or anything that has lust, that has temptation, that has exploitation, that has humiliation, that has a cruelty, that has non-transparency, any amount that has been earned through these means fall into the category of. Now, let me tell you. Have you seen the horse racing? That is also a riba, but that is also an interest. Because it's money being used on the gambling. So, now, I know, don't ask me this. I know it when I have to give it. Don't. It's coming right. Your voice is coming direct into it. That's my discussion when I'm going to give it to you. So you don't have to remind me. It's the watch is right in front of me. I'm looking to the watch. I know it. Now, when money became a commodity and bought and sold with guaranteed results of profitability or increase in volume of money being used for the transaction, such increase in the price of the money, and this price of the money is classified as interest, which is a part of riba. The question arises, interest is riba or riba is interest? Again, what's your interest is riba? To make discussion terms in rational Islam through definition and interpretation provide the Holy Qur'an. Riba is clearly explained where interest is defined by the scholars. Now, scholars may, very first scholar is Abul Ala Maududi, who has defined it very clearly. Then we have Greek scholar. The Aristotle is considered to be the introducer of the reality of the interest. And he says it, interest is an artificial profit which does not enter into a legal trading using money as a commodity, is selling just a forged and artificial transaction. Let's see. On the Eid festival, you go to State Bank of Pakistan and you take the packet of fresh notes. 10 rupees fresh notes are given to you 1,100 rupees. Is it possible that 1,000 is being purchased by 1,100? Can you purchase basmati rice with the basmati rice? Can you purchase apple with the apple? Then why you are purchasing and selling money with the money? No, because you are considering money in a value. So you are purchasing value with a value. How it is possible? It's not possible. You want to fire with a fire? Or you want to wet the water with the water? Water is already wet. It's not a dry. So it is just like that. When you buy and sell money with the money, it says it very clearly that this is the definition of interest. Let's suppose I ask you in the examination a question, what is the difference between interest and profit? So you have to give me first the formula of interest. Principal multiplied by rate multiplied by time upon 100. You define it. Then you will tell me this is the definition of interest. You can define this in your own way also. And this is basically a complete definition of interest, which is self-explanatory. We will be starting the profit explanation after the break. We will have a break of 20 minutes today because we have the quiz also. Take a break. Now, let's come to the third part of this topic, which is profit. Now, there's a formula for a profit. And you have applied that formula since you have started studying the commerce. But you have not realized how this profit have to be technically authenticated. You have never noticed that the profit is always being taken out from the lower amount with the big amount. That means I gave you 100 rupees, you use 100 rupees and you make 120 rupees. I am going to take out 100 rupees and give it back to you, that I realize a gross profitability. And from gross profitability, I decrease the cost, that brings out the net profitability. And net profitability being distributed according to the ratio of investment. Now, what is ratio of investment? Let's suppose I need 100 rupees. I have 10 rupees. So she contributed 20, she contributed 30, contributed 40. How much is the money? Now, principal amount is 100, transaction proceed comes 120, gross profit is 20, cost is 10, what will be the net profit? 10. Ab net profit is 10. Ratio is 10 is to 20 is to 30 is to 40. Am I right? Understand? Clear? Now, we distribute the profit, net profit. 1 for me, I contributed 10. 2 for her, contributed 20. 3 for her, contributed 30. 4 for her, contributed 40. This is the profit criteria that has basically been used in the financial system. Not like that. Principal multiplied by rate multiplied by time upon 100. Not like that. You work or you didn't work it. In financing, that is a difference between a financing and lending, that financing is made available on the with the ratio of investment, ratio of participation and ratio of profit sharing. Whereas lending is a liability that is basically being given, used or not used. It depends to whom you have given and who has taken it up. And then it has been guaranteed that whether it's going to be an economic activity or not, you have to have over and above to the principal amount at a certain rate which has been promised to you earlier, which you have to take into on the maturity. So that is the interest. This is the difference between interest and profit. Now I have told you that I have given you question, what is profit, what is interest. So interest you have to give me the formula, principal multiplied by rate multiplied by time upon 100, and profit formula. When you're going to explain the profit, you are going to explain the profit, this one, and then you proceed to this. Profit is an income which is the outcome on financing. It is the aim of financing, and loss is acceptable. Financing is basically an equity that has been contributed. We all four have contributed it. It is not that she has given me a liability. She has given me, no, Mr. Hassan, I am giving you 40 rupees. I don't care whether you make a profit or not. I want my 40 plus 10 plus 40. So you have to give me 4. Then for realizing the profit, the transaction have to be applied by involving the method. Now in financing, by making a profit, there are certain criteria that has been set. You have to make an appraisal of the purpose for which the money is basically being invested. Then you have to take the precaution whether this money is going on a risk or it's a risk free. Then trust. When you give the money, you have to trust me. You have to trust my proposal also. Then confidence. You have to see how much confidence I have, and for that confidence, finance profitability cannot be determined until unless I am the worker, I don't contribute my participation in monetary way. How? You call this equity. Rehen is basically being removed in the monetary matter. Al-Arboon entered. Al-Arboon. Al-Arboon. What is Al-Arboon? Al-Arboon is basically an equity or upfront or advance or margin. Let's suppose the transaction is 100. They will not going to give the money to me until unless I contribute 10 rupees or 20 rupees or 30 rupees from my own pocket. Let's suppose if I give a 100% financing a car to Anas. Anas never invested a single penny in it. How Anas is you going to use the car? Anas is going to use the car when early in the morning, instead of going from the first gear, she's going to pick the car on fourth gear. Because nothing has been spent by Anas. But let's suppose if Anas has contributed 20 rupees in it, then you will see the car, and Anas knows that after 3 years, this car belongs to me. Then you are not dare to touch that car, because car is just like Hato Bacho. It's just shining car, glittering car, because he knows that his money is inside it. And if he's not going to pay me, I'm going to take that car, I'm going to confiscate his money. That is the way to secure it up. Financing is more secure than the lending. Even the lending is guarantees being given. Still the guarantee don't work it. If I am a banker and I take a loan, I have lot of means and ways not to give the money back, because I know the banking, I know the law, I play with the law. But once I have made a financing and I enter into the partnership with Anas, I know how to take out because I'm the owner. When I'm the owner, I take the goods, I sell the goods, confiscate his money, and take my profit and everything by myself just in a few minutes. So it is very clearly that you have a confidence. Then you cannot give the money until unless I have an experience to use that money. How can you give a car key to a person who is a blind? You said, okay, you cannot see? No, I cannot see. Okay, then please take a car and drop me to my home. Is it possible? It is just like that, giving a money, putting a money into a fire. So I have to have an experience, knowledge. I must have a knowledge of my working. Then the whole proposal should be a transparent. The whole proposal must be a purpose. And what is a purpose? Socio-economic purpose. It should be a commercial with social aspect. What is prohibited? What is permitted? It has to be in line with the guidance. Then will and spirit. Do I have a will? Do I have a spirit to work it? Or I just say, okay, give me your money, okay, I'll do look into it. No, I have to be very serious in that. And these are the business ethics that result into then how profit is calculated. Now, I am not going to explain it to you, as I have already explained it. The definition is there. I have given you the definition. I have explained. Once when I ask you to write something on the profit, you write down a formula. Okay? And just take that formula, instead of putting the formula, when you put the formula, instead of thinking on it, just start from here and end over here that I told you. And I have explained it to you in this one. Now, I have one question. I have explained it to you riba. I have explained it to you profitability. I have explained it to you interest. Let's suppose if you go to a bank and a bank says it, I am an Islamic bank and it is interest-free bank. Will you accept it as Islamic bank? Will you accept it? Come on, let me know. I will not accept it. I will not accept it. If interest is eliminated from the monetary system or from the economic transaction, would it be possible that system and transaction would become transparent, clear, and acceptable to Islamic financial system? It says the answer is simple and straight. Filth remain in its hard and powerful grip in respect of other factors. Interest alone cannot be eliminated without eliminating categories that fall under the term called riba. So the bank should write down it is a bank, not an interest-free bank. That means the bank is giving you a profit, transparent. The bank is giving you a profit, that bank is investing your money in a right way. The bank is justifying the cost of the investment, justifiably. The bank is declaring the accounts clearly. The bank is not discriminating the depositor with a large depositor with a small depositor. They give equal response to the depositor irrespective of the volume of the deposit. These are all the things that affect more. And riba is the element. If you eliminate riba, you brings out the stability in the economic life. So we move to categories of riba. Now these are the categories of riba. Exploitation by taking advantage of status and position, it falls into the category of riba. Then irregular weight and measure for the profitability. Then wrong declaration for a higher return. Misconduct, misbehavior is also fall into the category of riba. Misbehavior. Then crime and law breaking, mistrust, commit a breach, false commitment, manipulation of affairs for the benefit at the cost and efforts of other like. I gave you a thesis, I gave you a report to write, and I make 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. One work, 3 take a joyride. Do the 3 who take a joyride are justified to get a marks? A simple thing. So if you have not invested anything or if you have not contributed anything, either money or the effort, you cannot be the owner of anything. When you be an owner, that means you have forcefully entered into the ownership. Then we have promising to secure the benefit of covering honorable and nearest and dearest, falsehood and lies. Betting and gambling, speculation, conjunction, unfounded information, trading in commodities prohibited by Islam and the law of the land, income from the practices or activities that are prohibited by Islam, breaking and abuse of state law for self-benefit or for any other purpose that is declared as punishable act, disobedient to the state law by declaration and submission of wrong information for self-benefit, disturbing the peace of the community by using the force. Why it is so? Disturbing the peace of the community by using the force, blocking the road. But this lane is my lane, so I put the barriers over here. No. Specifically, the Prophet ﷺ has very clearly said it in a hadith. The meaning of that hadith, the outcome of this hadith is that when you block the road, you block your resources. When you block the road, you block your resources. That means today if I perform a demonstration or I celebrate and I close down all the commercial area, where those will go who earn daily, eat daily. And when you going to have your food and they don't have the food, your food is haram on you. We make so much fun. Now we are playing a cricket. All the roads are blocked. Is it cricket important or is it earning important? Is that cricket is also an earning for whom? Large part of the society is without getting the wages and salaries for the day. And the small portion of the people are getting millions and billions over there. Is it right way? No, it's not. Sorry for that, because some are the cricket lovers. But committing and involving in illegal act, paying and receiving interest that is declared as punishable. Now this is a part of the interest. It comes so down. Before the interest, there are so other dangerous acts of riba. So, taking and giving a return on loans, fixing the amount without appraising the use of funds that are given to the user, keeping deposit with the person or institution having involved in riba practices. All those banks, all those financial institutions, all those bodies that enter into any kind of a riba transaction, you are not supposed to invest your money into it. It's very, very clear written. So as a result, many of the institutions has employed the religious scholars as their supervisory board. Now you are not supposed to argue with the supervisory board. You have to follow their instruction. But you have the right to ask them if something is not clear to you. And religious scholars have a duty to explain you to the satisfaction of yours. That is their duty. And you have to be satisfied until you don't leave them. So then we have holding and storing of currency that affect economic activity negatively. Holding of commodity that lead towards scarcity in supplies against market demand. Monopoly, monopolization of activity, transactions and business to taking sole benefit, stopping the growth of employment and earning, grabbing the wealth, illegal encroachment on the property. There's a masjid where you pray. The masjid is being constructed on the land which is not owned by the masjid. You are not allowed to pray over there. Even you are not allowed to give the donations over there also. The imam who is leading the prayer on the encroached land, you are not supposed to pray behind that imam. Now, in various countries of the world, the worship houses like church, mandir, masjid, there's a plate on the wall. This property owned by such and such trust. Like in Middle East, every such place is owned by government. So government put a plate on it. You cannot construct a masjid. You cannot construct a church. You cannot construct a mandir. Even if you have a money, no. The government, in UAE, the government is going to do. The Bahrain, the government is going to do it. Not you. And then government will keep the control on that building. It should be clean. It should be well attended. The people who are working in that houses, masjid or mandir or church, being paid a salary by the government. Because it's the responsibility of government to provide all the rights to worship. They cannot stop it. Even if it's Islamic state or a non-Islamic state. Then we have using public money for luxury and self-usage. Misuse right belonging to minor, orphan, widows and women. Misappropriation among the shared division of inherited wealth. Like they said, we are not going to give the right of the women from the shares of our father. They make marriage to a woman with the Qur'an. And we have it. Vani. These are all the traditions that are being performed just to, and in Hindu religion, sati. The tradition of sati, that when a husband died, the women lay down with the husband and they burned. Now this has been removed from the tradition. Why? Because The wealth should not be passed on from their home to the other home. The woman should not get the money. The woman should get the right of her husband or her father or a son. So this is basically not allowed in it. Even the Hindu religion is not allowed. They are totally against that. Totally against that. And that is the creation, that such type of creation of the human being. It's a greed of the human being, the lust of the human being that they have created the tradition. Otherwise, the religion does not allow such type of activities. No religion allows such type of activities. The right of the successors, in all the religion, the right of the successor has to be given rightfully. Otherwise, the person who was supposed to give the right and he grabbed that right, he fall into the category of riba and he was being punished on that. Then we have miscalculation of share for inherited wealth, income by power and cruelty, misuse of power and status, theft, burglary, smuggling, adultery, human trading. Adultery. Very, very important. Women marry to a man for wealth, or a man married to a woman for a wealth, or you see all those shows which are coming on the television in which there is a nudity. Women are being displayed as a pleasing commodity. Dancing, semi-nudes, humiliation of the women. Anybody who is giving advertisement, anybody who is watching it by paying it on a ticket, anybody who is working on it for a salary, wages, commission or fee, all are making a riba income to it. Very clearly. So this all Lux award, this Hum award, this ARY award, in nudity is there, vulgarity is there. All those advertisements which are being sponsored are riba involved advertisements. They cannot be, because the women is being humiliated in those programs. Then we have smuggling, human trading. Why human trading? Can anybody answer me why human trading is riba? Is it trading?
Because one person does not have the right to own another.
Exactly, exactly. One person doesn't have a right to own other person. There was no concept of slavery. Yes, Islamic era do have slavery, but it was being condemned in the system. It was not being allowed to use a man as a slave. If a man is being used, he should be used as a employee. He has to be given due reward on his performance and giving his efforts. He cannot be said. Let's suppose I live near to her house, and one day she said, "Sir, can you clean my garden, please, with a mold machine?" I said, okay, she's my neighbor, I'll do it. And I do it. Clean all the lawn. In England or in Germany or in those countries, it happens. You take the favor from your neighbors. They do it. But when you complete it, they pay you also. And she said, "Thank you very much, sir." Very good. It's a very nice, sir. Thank you very much, sir. What do you mean? Thank you se pet nahi bharta. No. I can't get a bread. I can't get anything from the thank you. There must be a money behind it, because service is there. My time you have taken it up. The time has a value. I'm not going to get my time back. Only thing I get back is the money that I spent for the time. Understand? So it says very clearly, human slaves. Then pressurizing and influencing of earning situation by taking benefit, bribery. Then misuse of public representation and obtaining the benefit through status as a public representative. Trade and sale of commodity. Now, in a car dealing, you must have heard the word on. over and above to the price. It is totally riba. Why? Let's suppose the car is 700,000 and they give you car at 800,000, 100,000 separate. Are they giving you the value of the car as 800,000? No. Are they giving you a receipt of 100,000? No. When they are dealer, they said that we have invested the money. So if you have invested the money, the company has given you certain percentage of commission. When the car is going to come for a service, you get the free service, but you take the money from them. Then the car comes and you are the official agent of that car or the car company. You are earning through that car servicing and tuning and all that type of things. Why you ask for that? On is basically a pure interest. A pure interest. Do you understand? Whoever is doing a car business should understand and tell their father, look, father, my teacher had told me this one. Now, auction? No, auction is allowed. Okay, now, fundamental facts of riba. Write down the fundamental. This is very important. I'm not going to explain it to you. Fundamental facts of riba is basically whatever I have explained it to you about the riba. This is the summary of fundamental facts of riba. Riba al-Nasiya, I have already told you, compound interest. Riba al-Fadl is very clear. Commodity riba. Then we have riba al-Gharar, fraud and forgery. Clear? This is the last, and I read, riba system emerged initially on a rule that there is no relationship between the determination of Allah and the life of man, and create the false feeling in the mind of man that wealth ownership would bring the power to become the master of this earth. It instructs the man not to get bound by a pledge himself from Allah and to ignore the importance of following the commandment of Allah. Riba established a feeling of liberty among humans for ways and means and obtaining wealth, encouraging to adopt more unfair means to multiply it. Riba provides an individual a feeling that he is free to enjoy his wealth without abiding the contract of faith and trust in Almighty Allah or obeying any condition as a holder of wealth for which he is not bound to keep the interest of others. It's very, very simple thing that now, if you have any problem in understanding, I have explained you a complete package. Still, you might have some questions in your mind. Huh? Somebody was criticizing to a boy. Okay, oh, you belong to that community? Yes, your worth must be about 30 million rupees. So the boy get angry. He said, how can you say it? He said, every boy in your community was being sold at certain price. Like in many communities, the girls are sold at a certain price. The father takes the money. It's not allowed. And even when the girl is get married, father get burden of a loan. How can you do it? And now say that boys, father and mother, parents are not involved in it. Yes, they are equally involved in it. And you cannot take it. Not is like that. The Prophet never did it. So this is interest, riba, interest and profit, which we conclude it over here. And then in the next class, we will be having a finance. Before the class start into a lecture, we will give you a 2 minutes documentary, the history of finance and banking. And then we will have it. In that class, if you have any question about riba, because finance is coming up after riba, if you have any question, any doubt, Any clarification that you wanted to take it, just let me know. Or if you want, you can come to my cabin and I'll answer you and I'll explain it to you. Thank you very much. And now we'll be having a quiz in 1 minute time.